many of you have been
Marawi.
in Malawi, Lanao del Sur? Of course, there are students here as well. Although, I mean, most of your classmates are in other places, like in
They
other,
are outside, yeah.
yeah,
Half
in
of the
other,
class. Half of the
so
class are
there's
here.
a couple of people here, and most of you haven't gone. It really is one of the most beautiful places in the Philippines. I mean, um, there's lots of stories about it that can scare you, but if you overcome those stories, because most of them are not founded on truth. I mean, uh, if you overcome those stories and you explore Lano del Sur, particularly the area around the lake, you just see how beautiful it is. Certainly for me, I am from Cagayan de City, which is just a few hours away from Marawi. The first experience of Marawi was first experience of a different city, of a different place. For obvious reasons, it's not uh, it's not like any typical Philippine city. And then the first time I saw the lake, I mean, going to MSU, the Mindanao State University campus, which is on the lake, it is really quite amazing. At the same time, like all lakes in the Philippines, it's stressed out with population, with all the different land use issues. And for years, the communities in the lake have been struggling to deal with it. So our storyteller today is famous for his work on Lake Lanao, as you have in your uh, um, handout, perspective one and storytellers. Mr. Naga is Amara now. Um, is part of the current program that we have in the school in Lanao del Sur. We have been implementing for the last year and a half a master's in public management program, and Pip is one of my star students and my bidal for that course. But as I said, he is known as an environmentalist, the prime mover of the Save Lake Lanao movement, Salam, where he's project director and secretary. Currently, he also works as a consultant for Governor Adyong of Lanao del Sur. When I was thinking and talking to him about how to to frame this discussion, this storytelling, I was a bit naughty and said, "Can we call it the other side of Mindanao or the other side of Muslim Mindanao?" Because we see again and again in the news, uh, we see the bad stories about Mindanao, particularly with a recent experience in Maguindanao. And I mean, if you've been reading the papers the last 2 days, there's this talk about uh, a Bangsamoro state, and the government is gonna again give up parts of Mindanao to the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. I literally came from the airport from Kuala Lumpur to help around these issues, and I can tell you that those are simply warmongering, you know what I mean, and there's no basis for what is being accused in the newspapers. But more than important, the bad story, the bad uh, stories that we see of Mindanao is really just a small slice of the reality of Mindanao. And the story of Lanao del Sur and the story of Lanao Lake, which continues to be a struggle, but we think it is a positive story of struggle, I think is something that should engage us. And so that's why we've asked Pip to share that story with us. Pip, your turn. We'll do this. I asked him to try to do this in 30 to 40 minutes. This is his first story, and then after that we can ask questions. But I do think, if it's all right, if immediately you have some questions here and there, so that it's a conversation rather than a lecture. Pip, start.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This story our story is dedicated to a friend, a colleague, who would have been here today, but he passed away last Sunday. He's an honorable, and the group went just stopped the preparation. Anyway, I am supposed to sit down with Sir Tony to discuss how the story runs. Earlier on, I was advised it has to come from my eyes, the story, and how Ateneo made an impact in Lanao del Sur and particularly the autonomous region. And then this morning, having heard President Nebres and Dr. Bingson, and then Sir said, just be yourself. I like that. I hate to read prepared speeches. Sometimes I cannot see and I get so, by the way, I am a self-taught environmentalist. The challenge came in during the impending opening of Agus 1 in Lake Lanao. This time, it is directly damming Lake Lanao, and that's how I become an environmentalist. I read manuals and everything in there. In 1990, and then we move along. We formed the group, Save Lake Lanao Movement, and we managed to get some issuances in Congress in 1991. We got the Environmental Compliance Certificate in 1992, January, a proclamation for the first time declaring a watershed reservation for Lake Lanao, and then a council to implement this. I thought then the battle to protect and save Lake Lanao was done. It was not so. In fact, getting those issuances was the easier part. But compliance is another thing. And the most difficult part, because advocacies, persuasiveness, in conference halls and government agencies does not work when the likes of DOE, National Power, and DNR. It does not work. It does not work. It was then at the time that the peace agreement with the autonomous region, specifically the Moro National Liberation Front, was signed. And we got the chance. I was drafted in the new leadership in the autonomous region, and then I thought my advocacy would have been, that could have been an opening, an opportunity for me to infuse the importance of our lake. Lake Lanao is one of the living ancient lakes of the world. It is so important in this country. It was not, I do not know, it's not being emphasized in here. But Lake Lanao has only one outlet. I'll be showing you a brief glimpse of what it is later on, because I'll be reading this one. It has only one outlet, the Agus River, where the 6 power plants of the national power are there. It is producing 727.1 megawatts, supplying about between 55 to 65% of the total electricity needs of mainland Mindanao. And if Mindanao contributes so much to the economy of the country, that's how much important that single natural resource is located. But given the geographical location, it is in the autonomous region, and you know what Sir Dean Tony has said about the autonomous region. First it came, has four provinces, then it became 5, then it became 6, then 5 now, and then the latest daily